music. It's about the adventure. It's all about fun. It's Japan's biggest pop stars in their own animated adventures. Turning the world upside down and making up the rules as they go. The world is yours. Catch the premiere of the first 2 episodes of the brand new show Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi. Premieres November 19th at 7:30, only on Cartoon Network.
Okay, let me preface this by saying that I can't find this on stream. Not Netflix, not Hulu, not Prime Video. YouTube TV doesn't have it, Peacock doesn't have it, whatever cash grab streaming service is out now doesn't have it. I was only able to find the DVDs on Amazon for between $30 or $70 a season. And after scouring the internet for a few hours and avoiding pirate sites because I'm not trying to catch a case, I was able to find a few episodes here on YouTube. I watched 12 in total, which just so happened to be 3 from the beginning, middle, and closer to the end. So while I might not be able to have watched the entire series, it sort of does give me a feel for the entire, the quality as it goes along, so it works out. Since this is the first review I've done, I'm going to describe my process. I'll be giving a brief synopsis of each episode and commentary, and I'll be going a bit into the show's background. And then, finally, I'll be rating on my 5-point scale, with 0 being unwatchable garbage, and 5 being essential viewing. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, immediately, the theme song is an earworm. I love it. It's bright, it's fun, and catchy. I was wearing headphones while I watched it, and the audio was balanced so that each of the characters came out of a different ear during the intro. And that's really cool attention to detail, not something you see on kids programming like this. And there they are, the titular duo that forms Puffy Amiyumi. They begin a few episodes like this with a short skit that's totally unrelated to the episode. The characters are also played by actresses, not the singers themselves. You have Grey Delislie playing Yumi, and Janice, sorry if I messed this up, I want to say Kawaye, but that's not that's not right. Kawaye? It probably is Kawaye. I'm just going to say Kawaye though. And Janice Kawaye played Ami. If you haven't heard of these two, they are some heavy hitters in the voice work industry, okay? Delislie is a prominent country singer-songwriter, and until recently, she was a sole voice actress of Daphne Blake from the Scooby-Doo franchise. She held the role since the release of the film Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, a role she inherited from her friend Mary Kay Bergman, who sadly took her own life during production. She also performed the role of Azula in Atla, Delislie. On a far more positive note, Janice Kawaye is a phenom. She's done work for movies, anime, and Western cartoons, and video games. Her first animation role was in 1989's Karate Kid, and her latest role was Young Giorno from JoJo. That's some 31 years of some very impressive work on some big name stuff. Invader Zim, Hunter x Hunter, Young Justice. She was even best girl, you heard me, best girl in Danganronpa 2, Peko Peko Yama. Man, even Kaz, the manager character, this balding, big-nosed, crocker-eared, where are your eyes glasses, trapezoid-built man, gets Kaone Young, a man who has been rocking the industry since '76. He held a role on Different Strokes, so some of the older members of the audience probably remember him. You heard me, old. Don't get angry now. Your heart can't take it. Just collect your social security and go call your grandkids. Got away from myself there. Point is, there's no lack of talent on the voice acting team. I could probably make a video just about the insane talent that worked on this show, but I gotta hurry up a little. Episode 1, Disharmony, immediately introduces us to our main trio, Ami, Yumi, and Kaz. These characters wear their characters on their sleeves. Ami's generally gentler and kinder, Yumi's more edgy and tomboyish, and Kaz is just as seedy as he looks. We are also introduced to Harmony, the winner of a #1 fan contest. This girl might be physically 6, but she's 12 mentally because there's no way she has this much info without working with the feds. Listen to this.
Ami, you like to eat pickles with peanut butter when you're feeling giddy. Your favorite color is rainbow. You're a sucker for macrame. And when you think no one's looking, you like to draw a face around your belly button and make it talk. Yumi, you love the sound of nails on a chalkboard. You hate flowers. You have a tiny birthmark in the shape of Abe Lincoln's profile on the bottom of your left foot. And ever since that pine nut incident when you were 5, squirrels make you very nervous.
Man, do not commit any crimes on the same planet as this girl. She's probably part of 6ix9ine's plea deal, little apprentice rat. She said, when I turn 13, I'm gonna stay 12 because they family. Man. Harmony shows them her creepy puppet she made of them, while Ami tries to be nice and give her pen as a gift. But Yumi is having none of it, takes her lollipop, bites it, and calls it a dental imprint. Savage. Later that night, as Ami and Yumi are getting ready for sleep, they discover Harmony, wearing Ami's pajamas and sniffing their underclothes. See, this is where I expected the episode to do the generic thing where Ami would try to be nice and Yumi would be like, oh, just snap on her. But no, Yumi just picks her up and yeets her out of the tour bus window. The next day, Ami and Yumi, I'm gonna call them that from now on, go to the mall to try to enjoy themselves. Their fun is interrupted by the snitch who licks faces. And again, my girl Yumi squares up and kicks over the photo booth. Ami and Yumi go to enjoy a mud bath. Ami tells Yumi how much she's enjoying her foot massage, and Yumi tells her that they weren't supposed to be getting one. Lo and behold, out of the depth rises Harmony, looking like Quentin Tarantino the way she's holding that foot. From here, there's a montage of Harmony harassing the duo, chasing them to the mountaintops, the sky, and even to the moon. It takes until they reach the moon to realize that Harmony won't stop. So they seek the help of Kaz, the manager. Kaz is hotboxing in the sauna, singing terribly, and for whatever reason, the sound of his awful singing makes Harmony become infatuated with him. Kaz runs off, of course, because Harmony is still 6 and he is not trying to catch a case. And now she's out of the duo's hair forever. Except now, they miss her attention and want her back. This episode ends here. The first episode of the show is extremely solid. It sang a lot. I've watched better shows that had an awful first episode. Even if they aren't bad, first episodes or even seasons are usually a little off as the crew gets used to the workflow and characters. Not here. It feels like I just happened to catch an episode of an ongoing series. Good so far. Next episode. Oh, also, I'm going to be speedrunning a few of these to save time. Only really taking time for episodes that I really like or feel like deserve attention. Episode 2, Collect All 5, takes us through the plight of Ami as she, you guessed it, tries to collect 5 things. Because it's an Ami-sode, yes, I made that up, and yes, it's a good name, she's trying to collect these 5 cutesy cereal box toys. She tries and fails, gets the stuffing beaten out of her by a small child, until eventually Yumi pawns her favorite guitar for the final missing toy. A solid episode. Slightly above average, not exceptional. Next, episode 3, Ninjcompoop, is a Yumi-sode. See what I did? See, I did the... never mind. After taking a magazine personality test, she gets ninja as her suggested job. She becomes a ninja, becomes a little bit more aggressive than she usually does, and goes rogue. Ami becomes a ninja to try to bring her back, but the two don't actually fight because, you know, they're best friends. Another solid episode. I noticed that this one relied a bit more on visual gags and physical humor, unlike the previous two, which were heavier on like the wordplay and witty end. Alright, jumping forward a little bit is next 20. Oh shoot. You know, it's episode 27. Am I gonna cut that out? No. Episode 27, Yumi Saves Kaz. During a show at a donut shop, the giant donut sign almost falls and kills Kaz. Yumi saves him, and Kaz essentially becomes one of those green aliens from Toy Story.
You have saved our lives. We are eternally grateful.
This episode is insanely predictable, but the plot is secondary in a slice-of-life comedy like this. The humor really stands out in this one, with Kaz throwing his usual cheat tendencies out just to simp for Yumi.
That pie is hot. You shouldn't burn your sensitive hero mouth.
The episode ends with Yumi faking like a dangerous situation so Kaz can save her, and then they'll be even. However, the plan works, but Kaz goes right back to his old ways and immediately starts demanding stuff. The episode ends with Kaz getting exactly what he asked for.
I owe you what?
First, I want a foot massage. Then you can clean my ears, change the water in my aquarium, wash my shirts, iron my pants, tie my shoelaces. Oh, yes. I'd also like a donut.
Episode 28, Rock and Row, is strange, like really weird. Kaz spent all their grocery money on comic books, so being cheap as he is, he drops Amiyumi off at an all-you-can-eat seafood buffet while he goes to a steakhouse up the road. They eat their fill and proceed to trip right out. The episode ends with Kaz splashing water on them and then a PSA-style message warning kids not to eat budget seafood. Either someone on the writing staff or Amiyumi themselves got food poisoning, I think, because after this there's just some music and a visualizer to fill out time. No real story, so this episode feels like a lot of nothing. Fun to watch, though I'll probably forget this episode first. Episode 29, Scowitis, revolves around the fact that Yumi scowls all the time.
Yumi, your album just sold 1 million copies!
Otanjobi omedetou, Yumi-chan.
Smile!
To correct her scowl, she has to wear dental hardware that is not only ugly, but causes her to be magnetized and transmit radio signals.
Flowing from the southbound 5 from Slauson to the Valley View off-ramp. A stalled big...
What was that?
blocking the center lane.
Brought to you by Ed's Oatmeal Exchange.
Yumi eventually learns that her fans don't care how she looks, and that they love her for her personality and talent. They even all wear the same dental hardware. Episode ends with the doctor telling Yumi that she doesn't need it, and that his machines were wrong, but she elects to wear it for a while, causing a new fashion trend. Another solid episode that shows that beauty is fleeting and your true friends will be able to look past it. Unless they're Kaz.
Well, I suppose I'd keep a low profile too if I had to wear that ridiculous face brace. If I had a head like that, I'd rent myself out as a suspension bridge. Yeah!
Episode 75, Rock Lobsters, is up next. This episode goes hard. I mean that. The basic premise is that Kaz has dropped Amiyumi off at a seafood restaurant. Not like last time though, a nice one. So they go into the restaurant, Ami sees the lobsters, and she wants to be free even though she eats seafood all the time. I mean, the show addresses it, Yumi points it out, but Ami says they're cute when they're alive, so whatever, it doesn't matter. So, she wants to free them. But before we can get to that, we have to meet the waiter. Okay, so you remember those mean girls in high school, sometimes college? He's like them, but instead of being passive-aggressive, he's just aggressive.
If you're looking for the bus station, it's 2 blocks down.
Like, I mean it. Like, these girls have done nothing wrong, and Gusteau's inbred cousin here is just done with them from the moment they walk in. Like, imagine if this was, like, in our world, and the Migos walk into a restaurant, and the waiter goes, "I guess I have a seat for you." But he doesn't even give them that. It is on site.
No. We're here for dinner. Table for 2.
If you say so. Right this way, wenches!
He then proceeds to put them in the back of the restaurant and just keeps flaming Amiyumi.
So, can I get you sea hags any drinks? Okay, here we are. Maybe you can use this water to wash yourselves. You know, like a bath.
He's gotta be an incel or something because no healthy person hates women this much. Pissed off, Yumi decides to help Ami get the lobsters free just to make the waiter angry. To try to scrap him, Yumi calls him to the table to talk to him, and Ami has the amazing bulletproof plan of grabbing the lobsters with her bare hands. It doesn't work, of course, so they try everything. Bait, pretending to be the lobsters' mothers, wearing them as earrings, it all fails. Eventually, Ami just annoys the lobsters so much they leave on their own, but now the waiter is super pissed. He makes them put on the lobster costumes and sells them to Kaz, who orders them extra crispy. Episode ends here. This one is probably one of my favorite personal favorites because of the waiter. He's probably so pissy because it hurt his back to carry the episode like that. Episode 76, Phantom of Rock, begins with the girls putting in no effort in the studio, so Kaz takes them to the mythical producer, Johnny Ghost, a man who is said to get the best out of any band, but he's crazy. Funnily enough, Johnny Ghost is a tag of a pretty big producer here on YouTube. He's pretty good. Check him out. Long story short, they got scared into accidentally making some music, which Johnny mixes into a single. He's one of those characters where the gag is that he's actually nice and safe, but he presents like a demon. The trio leave to bang out an album. Another shorter episode, the remaining time is filled out by a visualizer. This is still pretty interesting to me. Like, the writers here are allowed some serious leeway and freedom, seeing how they can just end shows where they see fit. Or sorry, not shows, but episodes. You know what I mean. Also, this is episode that makes Teen Titans canon in the Hi Puffy Amiyumi canon, which is cool because Amiyumi in real life wrote and performed the theme to the OG Titans and even came back and made the theme to Teen Titans Go.
This is a pretty big place. We could come back to look for Kaz tomorrow, when the sun's up. Sure, and we could get some friends to help us, like the Army, or the Navy, or the Teen Titans.
Episode 37, Fungus, is a fun one. Ami speaking to Kaz about how she loves her pets, and no matter how hard they are to care for, she loves them. Foreshadowing. The basic premise is that Kaz needs to take his monthly bath. Yes, monthly.
I went to take my monthly shower, but the shower is too filthy.
Man, this dude is cheap. This man is living on that Mr. Krabs lifestyle. Anyway, he needs to bathe when he sees something moving. He tells Amiyumi to clean it, or he'll start taking sponge baths in their bedroom, which I'm pretty sure is harassment. So they go to clean, but it smells so bad that even Ami, who just huffed a litter box, is about to pass out. Like, these girls come back in hazmat suits. They find the thing that Kaz saw moving, which is best described as an ooze beast. Ami takes it as a pet, because of course she does, but he quickly becomes too much to handle. Oh, and she names him Steve? Either this is just a random name or somebody is getting sneak dissed. Like, maybe someone's real life ex on the project was named Steve and he's a slime ball? That actually makes a lot of sense. But hey, that's just a theory. After Steve ruins a rehearsal, Ami snaps and goes full Tiger Mama and sends Steve back to the Black Lagoon. The episode ends with Kaz getting grabbed by some tentacles. Amiyumi are Japanese, so they know what's up, and they want no parts of it. skipping forward even further, in episode 111, Evil Amiyumi was a bit boring, to be honest. Amiyumi break the very specific first rule of rock.
It's the first rule of rock. Never hold a concert at Stonehenge during a lightning storm. It's a recipe for trouble.
Mumbo jumbo superstition.
And Yumi is swapped for an evil clone. Yumi recreates the situation, and she needs to get sent back, and the classic, which one is the real one, hijinks ensue. This is the only episode I saw where it feels like it was written for the show's target demographic, 6 to 11-year-olds. It's palatable, and I'm sure kids would like it, even if it has a very been there, done that feel. Episode 112, Butterscotch, is markedly better. The episode opens with Kaz offending a bunch of cowboys with his awful, awful cowboy outfit. He thinks he wants to be Lil Nas X so bad. Cultural appropriation goes both ways, y'all. Just as they're about to be booed off stage and stoned to death with fruit, a cowboy appears and tells everyone to stop. This man has so much sauce, it should be illegal. With one crack of the whip, he freezes not only the crowd, but the fruit in mid-air. With one look, he makes the Jolly Green Giant here run off crying like a little girl. His name is Slim Chance, and he gives off so much raw testosterone that he made my beard grow 2 inches. It turns out he's a huge Puffy fan. Because Ami's a big fan of horses, Slim shows him Butterscotch, his prized horse. Turns out he's a performer, and him and Butterscotch, as a team, are tied with someone else for the #1 horse and rider team of all time, and just needs one more to be the best, which is, of course, 10 minutes before their final competition, which they are shoo-in to win, Kaz falcon kicks the horse in the jaw, knocking it out. Amiyumi put on a horse costume and they act like Butterscotch and win the competition. And even though they're caught, nobody cares. Like, they cheated, but they aren't called on it. It's another fun episode, though. Interesting in premise and execution. The internal logic is a little fuzzy, though.
The rodeo? And I will sure miss you.
Oh, that's it. Next time, I'm the head.
The final episode I watched won their team, Big Waldo. The plot was nothing special, but the humor was non-stop. It was just gag after gag after gag. This episode was also very self-aware. It knows what it is, and seems the team just had a lot of fun with it.
Do you think other rock stars flee in terror as much as we do?
Let us pass Putrid Pond at the edge of Malaria Mud Bog. We're here! Oh, it's the perfect place to build a simple dream vacation house.
There's not really much to say about this one. It's just a bundle of jokes. Enjoyable, but nothing to write home about. Alright, now for my final total review. If you actually watch this and didn't just skip to the end, you can probably tell I really enjoyed my time with this program. Here are my 5 points. The story. As the show is a slice-of-life kids show, it's just a rule of thumb. Every episode has to sort of reset to 0. And, the story's only as good as the episode needs it to be. The writing is my second point. While there are a few more typical episodes I've seen in other places, I was never itching for an episode to end. The jokes held up really well, and I found myself laughing out loud more than once. The show's self-aware without being self-indulgent. This is a really great show for everyone, especially in a situation I found myself in a while ago before I left for university. An older sibling who has to watch something family-friendly with the younger kids. There's something in there for everyone.
And Joan. And they live in an underwater palace. In the ocean, there's not a care in the world. Everything's wonderful. And their children? As sweet as candy.
The voice acting. I've already touched on that, but every single voice actor did an amazing job here. I can't complain. Ami, Yumi, and Kaz were perfect, and even side characters were all casted to perfection. The animation, well, it was a little bit odd in the beginning with different characters not always staying on model, but as the series progressed, that flaw vanished. Something I thought was really cool about it is that it almost seemed like an Eastern take on Western cartoons. With the huge, exaggerated eyes, heads, and mouths, or the way that the eyes would change shape or become crossed out totally to convey different emotions. So often it's the other way around, with cartoons like Atla or Teen Titans being Western takes on anime. Seeing the flip side was refreshing. Now for my final point, the music was incredible. There's no out-of-place soundtracks, and from the general rock hits to the hip-hop, it's just great all around. Which brings us to my final verdict. Strong writing. Even at its worst point, the show's enjoyable, if a little bit, predictable. Animation's great, music's great, voice actors are great. It's not perfect, but I still had a great time with it, and I will definitely be trying to watch more. Maybe not for $70 a season, though. Hi Puffy Amiyumi gets a 4 out of 5. A strong recommendation to a certified cult classic. If you like this review, please like and subscribe. Right now I'm experimenting with new content and would really appreciate any feedback at all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the dark side of the moon.